Okay, for Chapter 13, we're going to do 13-3B, Selected Stock Transactions. Diamondback Welding and Fabrication Corporation sells and services pipe welding equipment in Illinois. The following selected accounts appear in the ledger of Diamondback Welding and Fabrication Corporation on July 1st, 2014, the beginning of the current fiscal year. And there it lists our balances for our preferred stock, paid in capital in excess of par, common stock, paid in capital of excess of par, and retained earnings. During the year, the corporation completed a number of transactions affecting stockholders' equity. They are summarized as follows. And then we have A through G. Generalize the entries to record the transactions. Identify each entry by letter. Okay, so the first one we're going to look at is purchased 87,500 shares of Treasury Common for $8 per share. Okay, so we're going to come over here to our journal. We are doing 13-3A. It is page 1. It's whatever page you would like to make it. Date is letter A, so we're just going to put the A right there. Now, they purchased treasury stock, so we're going to debit treasury stock. Now, our book tells us that they purchased 87,500 shares of stock at $8 per share. So we're going to take 87,500 times $8, and we get $700,000. So that's what our debit is going to be. Now, when we purchase our treasury stock, we pay cash for it, so we're going to credit cash. Letter B says that we sold 55,000 shares of Treasury Common for $11 per share. Okay, so on my scrap paper, I sold $55,000 per share at $11 a share, and I get $605,000. Now, when I purchased the treasury stock, I only paid $8 for it. So I need to calculate what that would be at 55,000 shares times $8, and that gives me $440,000. And I'm going to subtract these two numbers, and I get a difference of $165,000. Now I'm going to use all three of these numbers for my transaction. Okay, we're going to go with letter B. First of all, I sold stock. So since I sold something and I received cash for it, I'm going to debit cash. I sold the stock at $11 per share, so I'm going to debit cash for the amount that I received, which was $605,000. I'm going to credit treasury stock because I no longer have a certain amount of treasury stock. The amount of treasury stock that I sold was 55,000 times 8, which gave me the 440. So I'm going to credit treasury stock for 440 to show that I no longer have that amount. And the difference is going to go into an account called Paid in Capital Treasury Stock. And you may not be able to fit it all on that line. So we're going to credit paid in capital for that 165. Okay, letter C, we issued 20,000 shares of preferred 2% stock at $84. Issued 20,000 shares of preferred 2% stock at $84. Okay, so we'll come down here to our scrap paper. Letter C, it was 20,000 shares at $84. Gives me $1,680,000. Now, this is what we issued it for, was $84. If we look up in our book, our preferred stock is $80 par. So we need to calculate that as well. So we're going to take 20,000 times our par value. And we're going to get $1,600,000. Now, of course, there's a difference, so we're going to subtract to find the difference, and that's $80,000. And again, we're going to use all three of these numbers to make our transaction. Okay, so in our journal, letter C, we issued stock, so we received cash of $1,680,000. We issued preferred stock, so we're going to credit preferred stock for $1,600,000, which is the par value. The difference is going to go to paid in capital in excess of par. I'm abbreviating preferred stock. And that is going to be a credit for the difference, which was $80,000. Okay, letter D. We issued 400,000 shares of common stock at $13, receiving cash. Issued 400,000 shares of common stock. So on our scrap paper, letter D, 400,000 times 13 is 5,200,000. Our book tells us that our common stock has a par of $9. So we're going to take this 400,000 and multiply it by 9, and we get 3,600,000. Again, we're going to find the difference is 1,600,000. And again, we're going to use all three of these numbers just like we did the last one. So letter D, we received cash of $5,200,000. We issued common stock at par for $3,600,000, and that gives us our paid in capital in excess of par for our common stock of $1,600,000. Again, C and D are pretty identical. The only difference is C is preferred and D is common. Okay, letter E, sold 18,000 shares of Treasury Common for $7.50 per share. Sold 18,000 shares of Treasury Common for $7.50 per share. Okay, so again, grab our scrap paper here. E, 18,000 shares times $7.50 gives us $135,000. Now, if you remember up at the top, we paid $8 per share. So we're going to take this 18,000 times $8, and it gives us $9,000. Now, since we sold it for less than we purchased it for, we have a loss on our hands. So since we have a loss, we're going to add these two numbers together, and we get $144,000. Again, using all three of these numbers in our transaction. Letter E, we received cash of $135,000. We are going to debit paid in capital from sale of treasury stock. The $9,000, and then we are going to credit treasury stock just like we would if we made money for the total, which was $144,000. Okay, letter F, declared cash dividends of $1.60 per share on preferred and 5 cents per share on common. $1.60 per share on preferred, and 5 cents per share on common. Okay, we're going to start with the first half of that. They declared a $1.60 dividend on preferred stock. Our textbook tells us that our preferred stock had already issued 60,000 shares. Okay, so we're going to start with our 60,000 shares. And then in the transactions that we just accomplished, in letter C, we issued 20,000 more shares of preferred stock. Okay, so this came from letter C, and this one came from our book. So we're going to add those together and we get 80,000. Now we're going to take that 80,000 times the $1.60, and we get $128,000. Okay? Now, this is our preferred stock. We're going to set that number to the side and look at our common stock. Now, our book tells us that common stock, we had issued 1,750,000 shares. Okay? So 1,750,000 shares. Then we purchased treasury stock of 87,000 shares, 87,500, and that came from letter A. Okay. On letter B, we issued 55,000 shares. On letter D, we issued 400,000 shares. And letter E, we issued 18,000 shares. So we're going to add all of these up. And we get a total of 2,135,500 shares. We're going to take that number and multiply it by the 5 cents. And we get 106. Whoops. Pardon my temporary dyslexia. 106,775. And this is our common stock. Now, if we take this preferred number plus this common stock number, we get a total of 234,775, which are the dividends that we need to record. Okay. So again, here's your preferred dividends. Here's your common dividends. We're going to add them together, and that's the dividends that we're going to record in our journal. So in our journal, we're going to go to letter F. We're going to debit cash dividends for $234,775. And we're going to credit cash dividends payable for the same amount, $234,775. Okay, letter G, we paid the cash dividends. Okay, so nothing fancy. We're going to debit cash dividends payable because we no longer have to pay them. We no longer owe them that amount. We're going to debit that for $234,775, and we're going to credit cash because we're paying them $234,775. Okay, at this point you can turn off your video and head back into your PowerPoint.